Welcome to the deep dive. So imagine your AI models. They're brilliant, right? Capable of amazing things with language, with logic. But then picture them sort of trapped, isolated, stuck in this bubble of their own training data, unable to actually reach out and, do things in the real world. They can't check your calendar or send an email for you or query a live database. It's like having these super geniuses locked in a room with no doors. And then suddenly there's this solution that seems to be popping up everywhere. The Model Context Protocol, MCP. Feels like it came out of nowhere, an overnight sensation. But it was actually announced months ago. So the big question we want to tackle today is, why now? Why is everyone, seemingly all at once, talking about MCP when it first landed back in November 2024? Our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack MCP for you, cut through all the recent hype, get to the core of what it actually is, why it matters, and honestly, how it's changing the game for AI agents, so you can walk away really understanding it, ready to navigate this new frontier.
Yeah, that framing really hits the nail on the head. It captures the core challenge perfectly. Anthropic, the folks behind MCP, they put it pretty clearly. They said something like, even the most sophisticated models are constrained by the isolation from data, trapped behind information silos and legacy systems. And that just highlights this fundamental problem in AI development, right? How do we get these powerful models to actually do stuff, to interact with live data, use external tools, move beyond just observing? And MCP, well, it was designed specifically to solve that exact problem, this kind of messy, often ad hoc way people were trying to connect AI to the real world. Anthropic announced it as an open standard back in November 2024, and its path since then. It's been pretty remarkable. We're already seeing its adoption rate, starting to pass frameworks like LangChain. It's gaining fast on others like OpenAPI, CrewAI, and this quick rise, it's pulling in major AI players, big open source communities. They all see the potential here.
Okay, right. Let's dig into that timeline a bit more, because like you said, it was open sourced late November 24. But the initial reaction was, well, pretty quiet, wasn't it? Kind of blah. Didn't really make waves immediately. Then early 2025 hits, and bam, it just explodes into the conversation in the AI community. So what really shifted in just those few months? I think the first big reason, it seems, is that MCP finally offered a solid answer to this huge integration problem everyone was facing. See, all through 2023, 2024, AI agents were the big buzzwords. Everyone was talking about autonomous AI doing complex stuff.
Right, the dream was there.
Exactly. But the Achilles heel, the constant struggle was always, how do you reliably connect these agents to real business systems? Real data. Most of the hype was on the models themselves, not the messy plumbing needed to actually make them useful day to day. MCP steps right into that gap. It standardizes how you connect data sources, think file systems, databases, APIs, into AI workflows. People finally started seeing it as like the missing puzzle piece, the thing needed to build serious production-ready AI agents. It really clicked with that shift towards integrated systems people were talking about, like at the Human X conference.
Precisely. And that leads right into the second key reason for the surge. The community, the engagement, and just, wow, the rapid adoption. It wasn't just a concept on paper for long. It quickly grew into this thriving ecosystem. You had early adopters, big names like Block, Square Apollo, Zed, Replit, Codeum, SourceGraph, all jumping in, integrating MCP.
Okay, so real companies using it early on.
Yes, and that created this powerful network effect. By February 2025, just a few months after that quiet launch, there were suddenly over 1,000 community-built MCP servers.
1,000? Wow.
Yeah, basically connectors for all sorts of different tools and systems. And that just feeds on itself, right? The more tools available through MCP, the more useful it is, the more people adopt it. It just snowballed. Exponential growth.
Okay, and this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. The third reason for this momentum. MCP isn't just another company's proprietary SDK, their software kit, or some framework that locks you into their world. It's truly open. And it's model agnostic. What does that actually mean for you listening? It means any AI model could be Claude, could be GPT-4, could be your favorite open source model. Any of them can use it. And just as critical, anyone can build an integration, a connector, without needing Anthropic's permission slip.
That openness is absolutely crucial. It's a game changer.
Totally. And that's why a lot of people in the community are now betting on MCP to become the standard for how AI talks to the outside world. Kind of like how USB or HTTP or ODBC became the default way to do things in their own areas.
And you can't discount the fourth reason either. Anthropic themselves. They've been really active. They didn't just, drop the code and walk away. They've been constantly improving MCP, refining it. And critically, they've been educating developers, showing them how to actually use it effectively. There was this workshop by Mahesh Murag at an AI summit recently. It apparently went viral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that kind of direct engagement, the clear guidance, it really helped developers get it, understand its power, and start building. That pushed it right into the mainstream.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So we know why it's suddenly buzzing, but let's nail down exactly what MCP is. At its absolute core, what does it do? Well, it basically lays out a clear set of rules, a standard way for AI to find, connect to, and then use external tools. And tools here means, well, almost anything. Querying a database, sure. Sending an email, yep. Even interacting with a web browser. And this is huge because it finally frees the AI models from being stuck with only their frozen training data, that knowledge cutoff point.
Exactly.
Lets them be more flexible, more dynamic, actually aware of what's happening now.
And technically speaking, one of the really striking features, one that gets people excited, is its dynamic discovery.
Dynamic discovery, meaning
Meaning the AI agent can automatically figure out what MCP servers are available nearby and what those servers can do, their capabilities, all without needing any hard-coded integrations. You don't have to tell the agent beforehand, hey, there's a CRM tool available at this address. Say you spin up a new MCP server that connects to your company's CRM, any compatible AI agent can immediately see it, understand it speaks MCP, and start using it through a standard API.
Ah, okay. So it's plug and play for AI tools.
Pretty much. It offers this level of flexibility, this adaptability that the old ways, the custom-built connections, they just couldn't match. It makes the whole AI environment much more fluid, much more responsive.
Okay, that helps clarify. But before MCP arrived on the scene, how were people doing this? How did AI systems get context or use tools? It sounds like it was, well, messy.
Oh, it definitely was. Cumbersome is a good word. The most common way was just building custom API integrations, point-to-point connections. So that meant writing specific code, maybe using a specific SDK for every single service you wanted the AI to talk to.
Right, one for Google Drive, another for your database.
Exactly. You'd integrate Google's API, handle its authentication, then you'd pull in a database driver, figure out its authentication, its data formats, its own little quirks. It was super repetitive, often pretty tedious work.
I can imagine.
MCP, on the other hand, it's like giving the AI a single master key, the protocol itself, that can unlock lots of different doors. You add a new MCP server for a new tool, and the agent doesn't need major client-side surgery to use it.
What about those plugins we saw for a while, like the ChatGPT plugins? Weren't they trying to solve this too?
They were, yeah. That was another approach that got attention back in 2023. Standardizing plugins, often using something like an open API schema so models could call external APIs. Conceptually, it's similar to MCP standardizing tool access, but they had some real limitations.
Like being tied to one platform.
Exactly, often proprietary, locked into ChatGPT, for instance, and each plugin still had to be built, hosted, managed individually. And crucially, they mostly focused on, let's say, one-way data retrieval. The model asks a question, gets an answer back, done. MCP is different because it's open source, it's universal, anyone can build for it. And it's designed for richer two-way interactions, more like an ongoing conversation between the AI and its tools, not just a quick Q&A.
Okay. And then you have frameworks like LangChain, which really push the idea of models having tools. How did they fit in before MCP?
LangChain was huge for popularizing that concept, definitely. Giving models these tools basically functions with descriptions, like search or calculate, that the agent could decide to use.
Right, the agent decides when to use the tool.
Precisely. And it was powerful. But each of those tools under the hood still needed custom code. Someone had to implement search to actually call Google or whatever. LangChain itself built up this huge library, like 500 plus tools, all with a consistent interface for the developer, but you still had to wire them up. MCP is kind of complementary here. It provides a standardized way to implement those tools. Think of it as a library of ready-made tools any agent running anywhere can just pick up and use dynamically.
So LangChain standardizes it for the developer. MCP standardizes it for the running agent itself.
That's a great way to put it. The running AI agent can discover and use MCP tools at runtime. And actually, LangChain now has an adapter, so you can easily treat MCP servers as LangChain tools. It bridges the gap.
Gotcha. And one more piece. Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAGE. That's been the go-to for giving models context, right? Where does MCP fit with RAID?
Right. RDO, especially with vector databases, has been key for feeding relevant information into the model's prompt, getting around those knowledge cutoffs. But RView typically deals with static text snippets. It finds relevant info, gives it to the model. It doesn't inherently let the model do anything or query beyond what's already indexed.
Okay.
MCP actually extends RView. For example, you could have an MCP server that interfaces with your vector database or a search engine. Now, instead of passively receiving info, the model can actively issue search queries as a tool through MCP.
So it's more active.
Exactly. Where RE provides passive context, MCP lets the model actively fetch or even act on that context through defined channels. It could even trigger operations in a live database if needed, moving beyond just static text.
Okay, this is all incredibly powerful stuff, but for you listening right now, how do you actually get started with MCP? It sounds potentially complex. Are there clear ways to adopt it?
Absolutely there are. And Anthropic has tried to make it approachable. The best starting point is always the official MCP documentation and the code repository. They open source the spec and they provide SDKs, software development kits in popular languages like Python and Java. That helps a lot.
Okay, so docs and SDKs, what are the basic steps?
Generally, it involves a few key things. First, you need to run or install an MCP server for whatever tool or data source you care about. Think Google Drive, Slack, Git, a Postgres database, maybe even a web browser tool using something like Puppeteer. Anthropic actually has an open source repo with pre-built servers for many common systems to get you started.
So find or build the server for your tool. Got it.
Second, you set up the MCP client side in your AI application. If you're using, say, Claude's own application, you can often configure this directly in the user interface. If you're coding your own agent, you'd use the MCP SDK in your code to talk to the server. Then, once you enable the MCP services in your client, it should automatically discover the extra functionality, the tools, resources, maybe even prompt templates that the server offers.
So the client finds the server's tools, and
then your model, your agent, can start calling those MCP tool actions whenever it needs to, just like any other function call, essentially. And definitely monitor the logs, make sure the calls are happening, the responses are coming back correctly. Debugging is key.
Makes sense. Are there any quick ways to just try it out?
Yeah, for a quick start, Anthropic suggests trying their Claude desktop integration, which has MCP built in, or you can run some of their example servers using the quick start guide they provide in the repo. And don't forget the community. It's super active. There's this rapidly growing catalog of community-built servers. People are even making websites just to index them all. And if you have some niche internal tool, you can build your own MCP server for it, often just by wrapping its existing API with the MCP SDK. It's designed to be extensible.
Okay.
There was even a cool walkthrough by Will Schenk using Teslab's Tesla monitoring service. Just showing MCP in action connecting to a real-world thing makes it much more tangible.
All right, seeing a real example helps, but okay, sounds almost too good to be true sometimes, doesn't it? What's the catch here? Is MCP really the silver bullet everyone seems to be hoping for? Or are there, hidden complexities, real-world issues we need to think about?
That is definitely the right question to be asking. And no, it's not a silver bullet. While MCP is an extremely convenient, powerful integration layer, it's not magic. Like any technology, especially a new one, it brings its own set of challenges and things you really need to consider.
Such as?
Well, for one, there's the added operational overhead. You're now potentially managing multiple extra pieces of software, these tool servers, running them, maintaining them, keeping them up, securing them, making sure they scale. Especially in a production environment, that's not trivial. MCP's initial design was maybe a bit more focused on local or desktop use cases. So translating that smoothly to cloud-based multi-user setups, there are questions there. They're making progress on statelessness and adaptability, but it's still an area of active development.
Okay, so managing the servers is one thing. And even with all these new tools available, the AI itself still needs to figure out how to use them effectively, right?
Exactly. Tool usability is still a major factor. Just because MCP gives an AI a bigger toolbox doesn't mean it instantly becomes a master craftsperson. We've seen this with other agent frameworks. Models can, and do, struggle sometimes with choosing the right tool for the job, or figuring out the correct way to call it, or interpreting the results. MCP provides structured descriptions for tools, which helps. But success still really depends on how good those descriptions are and how well the AI model can understand and reason about them. Harrison Chase from LangChain has talked about this. Well-documented tools are absolutely key.
Makes sense. The tool is only as good as its manual and the AI's ability to read it.
Pretty much. Then there's maturity. It's still relatively new tech, right? So you have to expect rapid changes. The standards are evolving. That can mean breaking changes sometimes, needing updates. Compatibility is another point. It's got fantastic first-class support in Anthropic's world with Claude. But broader native adoption across all the other major AI providers, that's still developing. And honestly, for really simple apps, MCP might just be overkill. If your agent only needs to talk to one or two very straightforward APIs, maybe just calling those APIs directly is simpler, more efficient. There is a learning curve with setting up MCP.
And security. Connecting AI to potentially everything.
Yeah,
That's like it needs careful thought.
Oh, absolutely paramount. Security and monitoring are huge ongoing challenges. MCP acts as this middle layer, this gateway. So you need really robust authentications, strict permission controls to make sure the AI isn't accessing things it shouldn't or performing unauthorized actions. There are efforts emerging to help with this, like an open source project called MCP Guardian, which aims to log requests and enforce policies. But securing MCP properly in complex enterprise environments, that's definitely still a work in progress.
Okay.
But look, the bottom line here isn't that MCP is flawed. None of these are necessarily showstoppers. It's more about being realistic. It's probably wise to start using it in experimental or maybe non-critical deployments first. Get comfortable with it. And the really good news is the community. It's incredibly engaged and people are actively working together to solve these challenges. That's a huge plus.
That's a really helpful, balanced perspective. Thanks.
Yeah.
So let's connect this back to the bigger picture. We often talk on this deep dive about the key parts of autonomous agents. Things like having a profile, knowledge, memory, the ability to reason, reflect, and crucially, the ability to take action. Given everything we've just discussed, where does MCP fit into that overall structure? How does it help with building those truly capable agents?
That's a great way to frame it, connecting the dots. And it's important to be clear here. MCP itself is not an agent framework. It's not an orchestration engine like Crew AI or LangGraph. Instead, think of MCP as a standardized integration layer, specifically designed to power the action part of an agent's workflow.
Okay, so it's about doing things.
Exactly. It's the plumbing, maybe. The standardized pipes that connect the agent's brain, its reasoning and planning to the outside world, letting it interact in a structured, secure way. Think about it with maybe an analogy. Before MCP, if you had, say, 10 different AI agents, and they each needed to talk to 10 different tools, your CRM, calendar, email, database, whatever, that's potentially 10 times 10, 100 different custom connections you might have to build and maintain. That's often called the N times M integration problem. It's complex, fast.
Okay, yeah, NXM, nightmare.
MCP changes that picture dramatically. Now, those 10 agents just need to know how to speak one language, MCP, and each of the 10 tools just needs one adapter so it can understand MCP. Suddenly, you're down to 10 plus 10, just 20 connections in total. It simplifies things to an N plus M problem, much more manageable, much more scalable.
Ah, okay, N plus M. I like that. So it simplifies how the agents interact, but it doesn't actually tell them what to do or when to do it.
Precisely. It complements those orchestration tools, LangChain, LangGraph, Crew AI, Llama Index, whatever you're using. Those tools handle the planning, the reasoning, the when and why an agent decides to use a tool. MCP then provides the unified toolbox and defines the consistent, streamlined way that interaction actually happens. Ultimately, it just makes building versatile, adaptable agents much easier, agents that can actually perform sophisticated tasks across lots of different systems and contexts.
Okay, great. Now, MCP is still really new, as we said. Its full potential is probably still unfolding. The obvious uses, like connecting a chatbot to company data, we get that. But what are some of the more innovative, maybe even surprising possibilities that MCP unlocks? Things we might not be thinking about just yet.
Yeah, this is where it gets really exciting, looking beyond the immediate use cases. And there are several areas that I think are particularly interesting. First, think about truly complex, multi-step workflows that cross different systems.
You mean like an AI managing a whole project from start to finish using different apps?
Exactly that. Agentic systems often need to juggle tasks across many platforms. Imagine asking an AI to plan a team off-site. It might need to check everyone's calendars. Tool 1, Calendar API via MCP. Find and book a venue. Tool 2, Booking API via MCP. Send email invites. Tool 3, Email API via MCP. Maybe arrange travel. Tool 4, Travel API via MCP. And update the budget spreadsheet. Tool 5, Sheets API via MCP. With MCP, the agent can call this sequence of tools through one consistent interface, maintaining context without needing complex custom glue code for each step.
Okay, that streamlines complex tasks significantly.
Definitely. Then there's the idea of agents that truly understand and interact with their environment, potentially even moving into robotics. Picture AI agents embedded not just in software, but in smart homes or operating systems, or even controlling IoT devices. They could gain real-time awareness by interacting with sensors, devices, or system functions through standardized MCP servers. This moves AI beyond just reacting to text prompts, enabling much more natural, proactive assistance in our physical or digital spaces.
AI becoming truly context-aware of its surroundings.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this one, I'm personally very excited about this. Collaborating agents, sometimes called agent societies.
Okay, like AI teamwork.
Sort of. MCP could act as a common language, a shared workspace, for systems composed of multiple specialized AI agents. Imagine you have one agent that's great at research, another that excels at planning, and a third that's built for executing tasks. Instead of complex custom integrations between them, they could all use MCP to access a shared set of tools and data sources, exchanging information and coordinating their actions dynamically. Each focuses on its strength, using the common MCP layer to work together.
Wow, that opens up possibilities for much more sophisticated AI systems. What about for us as individuals?
For individuals, I think we could see the rise of truly personal AI assistants with deep, secure integration. Imagine running an MCP server locally, on your own machine. You could configure it to allow your AI assistant and only your assistant to access your personal data, your emails, your notes, maybe your smart home devices. Critically, this could happen without exposing all that sensitive information to a third-party cloud service. This could lead to ultra-personalized AI that really understands your world and can help you manage your digital and physical life, tailored specifically to you.
Okay, that sounds potentially very powerful and maybe addresses some privacy concerns too.
Potentially, yes. And finally, for businesses, MCP offers a huge advantage in terms of governance and security. By standardizing how AIs access internal tools, it doesn't just cut down on integration work, it also creates choke points for oversight. All AI interactions with internal systems via MCP can potentially be logged, monitored, audited, and controlled through an oversight layer. This helps manage risk, prevent unintended consequences, while still getting the benefits of AI automation. These are maybe just early glimpses, right? But by enabling these fluid, context-aware, multi-step interactions, MCP is really pushing AI agents much closer to being able to handle truly autonomous, complex workflows. So yeah, just to wrap that thought up, MCP is clearly maturing fast. It's becoming this powerful, standard way to turn AI from just a brain in a vat into a versatile doer. It really streamlines how agents connect to everything else, paving the way for a more capable, more interactive AI. And looking just ahead, based on that Mahesh Murag workshop and other signals, Anthropic has some important stuff coming down the pipe. We're expecting better support for remote servers, probably with built-in OAuth 2.0 for secure, easy connections, which is vital for cloud use.
Okay, security improvements.
Yes. Also talk of an official MCP registry, a central place to find and verify trusted MCP servers, maybe with options for private registries within companies. Things like standardized well-known MCP files to make discovering servers automatically even easier, and just general enhancements. Better streaming support, more stateless connection options, maybe even ways for servers to proactively notify agents, better ways to organize tool names, lots of refinement. Each of these steps will make MCP more robust, helping agents integrate even more deeply. And it's crucial to remember this is really a community effort now. So keep an eye on the roadmap. Definitely join the discussions if you're interested. Help shape where this goes. It's all about defining the future of how AI and software work together.
That's a fantastic summary of where we are and a glimpse of what's next. So let's bring it back to you, our listener. What does all this mean for you? With AI agents now getting the ability to actively engage with the world through MCP, where do you think we'll see the first truly indispensable, must-have, everyday AI application emerge? What task, what workflow that felt out of reach before now suddenly feels possible because AI can finally interact with your personal world or your business's world in a meaningful, action-oriented way. It's definitely a fascinating time to stay informed on this. It's moving incredibly fast. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Model Context Protocol.